Folks, let's go ahead and talk about some games this weekend. Of course, a lot of games are being canceled and postponed, so we're not going to see a lot of them. Most notably, you're not going to see Alabama put up 900 points against LSU in a rematch of last year's game. You're not going to see Tennessee get beat by 800 points by Texas A&M this weekend. But you're going to see some other games. Well, who else was that? Mississippi State and Auburn got canceled.
Mississippi State and Auburn did
which
get
nobody
recently
cared.
canceled.
There was going to be zero people watching that game.
I would have watched that game.
Why?
Because I like Michael Leach.
Get out of here. Mike Leach, man, he has been no.
They have terrible players. They have terrible players.
Yeah, pretty bad. Let's go ahead and start with the first game on the docket. And the game we talked about earlier, we previewed a little bit. Miami's going to be traveling to Blacksburg, take on Virginia Tech. Miami's still 6-1, hoping that Notre Dame loses.
Yes. I'm excited for this game.
So they can get a rematch at Clemson.
Yeah.
But right now, the line on this game is Virginia Tech 2.5 favorites.
Yeah, and the over-under is 67.
What do you got on this one?
Give me the U.
Okay, so like we talked about this. To be honest, straight up, they should have lost to NC State. And if Devin Leary plays that game, I think you might have a different turnout. But guess what? Ifs, ands, and buts don't matter. They won the game. I think going into Virginia, they're going to have to score a lot of points to beat Virginia Tech. But I think they can do it.
I'll take Miami.
I'm taking Miami in this one.
I think the over 67.
I think the over, and I also take the cover.
Yeah.
Right now, I think Virginia Tech's still reeling a little bit, trying to figure out what's happening to the ACC Killers and the Liberty Flames. The boys killing it with Hugh Freeze. But I still think that Miami's got too much for them. Their defense is better. I think they can get more stops than Virginia Tech. So I'm going to go Miami with the cover and the over. We got another game that was in any other year would be the Doo-Doo Bowl. You got Indiana traveling to East Lansing to take on Michigan State. Indiana is number 10, the highest ranking they've had in a really long time.
Only favored by 7.5.
Only favored by 7.5 up in East Lansing, and the over-under is 52. I like Michael Penix.
I think they're going to win.
I like Tom Allen. I think they're going to win. Do I take that cover? Maybe. Rocky Lombardi is a up and down quarterback. It's so strange because he looked so good against Michigan and so bad last weekend. So I don't know what we're. I don't know how to.
They had
handle
7 turnovers against Rutgers.
Yeah, I don't get it, but I'm going with Indiana. I think Indiana's playing really good football right now. Do I think that's going to translate to them having a chance to actually beat Ohio State? Probably not. But I think Michigan State's too Jekyll and Hyde right now. They're too volatile. I'm going with Indiana with the cover.
I'll take Indiana as well with the cover.
I don't know about the over/under though.
I'm gonna say under.
I'm definitely taking the under because I don't think either team's gonna score a whole lot of points in this game. Georgia and Missouri. This is a game that's got some intrigue into it. Georgia's number 12 team in the country. Of course, they took that throttling by Florida Gators. Of course, Georgia is now 4-2 in the season. They're going to be going to Columbia, Missouri to take on the Missouri Tigers. Eli Drinkwitz. Georgia is favored by 13.5, pretty much 2 scores, and the over-under is 48. It's interesting how the over-under is lower than Michigan State in Indiana, which is hilarious.
I think that Missouri, I think Georgia's going to win. I think Missouri covers that almost 14-point spread, and I think the game goes over.
Yeah. Right now, Connor Bazelak, I would trust him more than Dwan Mathis or Stetson Bennett. JT Daniels ain't playing at all this year, so go ahead and get out of your head, Georgia fans. It is what it is.
No point to play.
Connor Bazelak has been putting up numbers. Of course, their record doesn't reflect a lot, but they're better than the actual team. The record suggests. Georgia's still playing hobbled. A lot of guys out for this game. I'm going to say the over for sure because I think it's going to take
I'm not saying Georgia's going to have
Georgia.
an offensive explosion this
well,
week.
Maybe because Missouri's defense is bad, but they're going to have
really
to keep up with Missouri. I still don't think Missouri can beat Georgia.
No. They'll cover that 14-point spread, though.
I think I'll say it'll be like a 6 to 7
I think
point
a realistic score prediction, if we're just going to go that far, would be like 31-24 type game.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I don't think the Georgia – I think maybe mentally, too, they might be checked out now because they're out of contention. And it's just weird to see that, but it is what it is. We'll talk about another team, the best team in the state right now of South Carolina, the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers at number 15 in the 7-0 ranking will be traveling to Troy, Alabama to take on the Trojans. The over-under of this game is 54. Coastal Carolina is favored by 11, and give me all of that.
Yeah, I think
Give me the over and give me all of Coastal Carolina in this one.
I'm buying into the Chanticleers.
I'm buying into it.
We've been talking about them since like week 2.
Dude, Grayson McCall.
He's really good.
This team is like on a mission right now. And I joked about this earlier in the year. I was like,
No,
instead
we
of playing Citadel, we should play Coastal. And now I'm kind of like, ooh.
Yeah.
But I think that I truly do think that Coastal Carolina, hats off, helmet tap, Coach Jimmy
They're
Chadwell.
rocking down there with the teal
These
field.
guys are killing it,
They've got
man.
it going.
I'll have to say I think the run game is probably better for Troy, but I'm gonna go with Coastal Carolina in this one. I just think they're on a mission right now. They want to win that Sun Belt. Who would have called Coastal Carolina winning it over Appalachian State right now?
Nobody.
Or Louisiana? So we'll go with that one too. Another game that's kind of interesting, and it's another G5 game that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it is what it is. Marshall at number 16 in the country, 6-0. Look, they can throw the ball. This might actually be one of the better throwing teams in the country. Also like their coach, Doc Holliday. What a name. They're going to be playing at home against Middle Tennessee. Rick Stockstill.
It's going to be a blowout.
It's going to be a blowout. Now, you remember Stockstill was a coordinator at Clemson back in the day. Marshall's favorite at 23.5. And the over-under is 57. Take all of that. Right now, I'd be surprised if Coach Stockstill is still the coach next year at Middle Tennessee. I got Marshall all over this one. Not even close.
Yep.
I would do the Liberty Coastal Carolina game, but that game might actually have potential to be Georgia Tech Cumberland, so we won't do that one. There's a chance that Liberty could beat them by 200 points. And how about Malik Willis for Liberty playing with Hugh Freeze? Of course, he was the Auburn quarterback that transferred out because he got beat by Bo Nix. And I wonder if Auburn fans are kind of like, dang, we should have kept this guy. I don't know. He didn't win the job, so it is what it is. But big game on the docket. This is something we're all going to have our eyes on this weekend. Notre Dame is traveling to Chestnut Hill to play the Boston College Eagles. Of course, Notre Dame did come off of a big win over Clemson. They are 7-0 in the season, and a number 2 ranking in both the AP and the coaches poll. Now, over-under is 49.5. Notre Dame is favored by 13.5. I don't want to say yes to that at all. I want to say, I'm not saying they're going to be a victim of circumstances, but
Notre Dame win seems like the most likely scenario.
Yeah, I want to say this game, and a lot of people might be saying, "Oh, you guys got beat. You're just mad." Now, Notre Dame's kind of volatile. I know they've been on a upward trend, but after being that emotionally excited about beating the number 1 team in the country, then you travel to Boston College, a team that's going to play hard-nosed football. There's a chance that Boston College could actually sneak up on them. Now, Phil Dracovic, former Notre Dame quarterback, is going to have the insight on what Notre Dame likes to do. Of course, he was under Chip Lindsey and Tommy Rees last year, so he knows what the offense is going to do. You know he's going to give him a little bit of a insight of what Notre Dame likes to do. And plus, the film on Notre Dame from this past game is going to help Jeff Hafley, former defensive coordinator at Ohio State. I do like that over-under. I want to take the over if it's 49.5. I don't like 13.5. I'm going to go.
I say Notre Dame wins at like maybe 31-21.
Yeah, I'll say 10 points. And if you think we're crazy, 12-7 Louisville. Again, I do think that Kyron Williams is going to go off again, but we'll see what happens. And we're obviously strangely rooting for Notre Dame to win this game. Another game, 3:30 docket. Ohio State will be traveling to College Park to take on them Terps. Of course, I am from Maryland, so I have a little small soft spot for Maryland Terrapins. But look, Maryland has been playing some pretty good football right now, and the things that they do schematically, Talia Tungavailoa with Rakeem Jarrett is a revelation. These guys have been killing it, getting separation from anybody that they play so far. However, they are playing Ohio State. The over-under in this game is 73 points. Ohio State's favored by 25.5, and I think that's not going to happen, but I do think that they're going to win by 3 scores. I can see 17 points, 20.
Hey, Maryland's fun.
Maryland's going to put up they're going to put points on Ohio State.
I kind of came on the show and kind of was rough on him after week 1.
Well, it was a bad game.
He played terrible, but they bounced back since then. They got a win over Penn State. They got a win over Minnesota.
That's the revelation of having.
If they didn't drop that game, this would be like Maryland would be like number 19.
They would, yeah, they'd be ranked by this. But I think that having such a good connection between Talia and Rakeem has helped out the running game at Maryland, and the scheme that Mike Loxley likes to do. split flow zone type stuff, a lot of cross face passing, naked boots from quarterbacks, getting him out of the pocket, just like he did for his little brother when he was at Alabama. For his big brother in Tua. They're going to get some open, and that opens up the running game for Mr. Funk, Jake Funk. Still not going to be enough to beat Ohio State, though. I think Ohio State wins this game, but not by 25.5. I'm not taking that over. I'm not taking that line, but I am taking the over-under. I'm taking that over. I think both teams have a chance to score over 30 points. Way over 30 points. I think I could see Ohio State scoring 52. I think I could see 52-31.
I don't have a ton of insight to provide, but I think Ohio State's going to win.
Of course.
It's going to be marginal enough to where it'll be considered like a technical blowout, but I think the game will be closer than the score indicates.
Oh, yeah.
That's really all I have to say about that.
Let's talk about just a few more, though, and we'll get you guys out of here. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you guys sticking with us, talking college football. Of course, we'll be here every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Catch us online. We'll be live, and you can always watch the clips later on in the week. Also thinking about doing some episodes, some Q&A stuff. Just come on here and chat with us and shoot the breeze with us. We're going to have some fun. All right, we got another 7 o'clock game. We have the Arkansas Razorbacks traveling down to the Swamp to take on the Florida Gators. Really elated by pretty much locking up the SEC East. The over-under for this game is 63, and the line is Florida favorite at 17.5. Nope.
I'm taking the Gators.
I'm taking the Arkansas Razorbacks to
upset or cover.
To cover.
Okay, they'll cover.
No, they're not beating Florida.
They'll cover. Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason why I don't have Arkansas beating Florida is not because I think Arkansas is a bad team. In fact, I think they're probably the most resurgent team outside of Texas A&M in college football. I think that Coach Sam Pittman has COVID. He's not going to be on the sideline, so we'll see what happens to that. I'm sure Kendall Bryles will probably take over that, or Barry Odom since he was a head coach. But Florida's going to score. They're like Alabama. They're going to score 40, 50 on everybody, too.
Their defense is terrible, though.
Their defense is really bad, tragically bad. In fact, the first play of the game, I was kind of a little scared about Georgia beating.
We came into the season thinking their defense was going to be good.
Well, we were tragically wrong. But in this game, I still think that Arkansas is a good enough team to keep it competitive. I don't think they win this game.
Give me Florida like 42-24.
Yeah, give me this. Give me the under. I don't see the 63. I don't see it. I don't see Arkansas. Well, maybe. We'll go with that. Yeah, I'll take the over. I will not take the line. I think that Arkansas covers in this game. Kyle Trask playing great, but so is Felipe Franks, and he wants to show everybody, hey, look what I can do at Arkansas. You guys booed me in my own stadium, but guess what I can do? But I still think they lose. 7 o'clock game. The Oregon Ducks traveling to Pullman, Washington. They're going to be taking on Washington State, a team that normally gives them trouble, but I don't really know much about Washington State. Of course, new coach Nick Rolovich and new quarterback and everything.
This was like the weirdest thing for me. I was tripping out last week. Like, turn on my television, right? I'm just watching some Pac-12 football, and Washington State quarterback turned around and he handed the ball off.
What in the world is this? Of course, they still run air raid, but it's a different kind. Of course.
And then he turned around and he handed it off again.
And it's like, what?
I'm like, what is happening right here?
And
the running back was good.
Hey,
the running back was really good.
Check this out. Quarterback Jaden DeLaura, all right? Only 33 attempts passing. That's like a first quarter for Mike Leach. But I think Tyler Shuff is a revelation. I think a lot of people were trying to figure out what was going to happen when Justin left the Ducks. Of course, he's lighting it up in the NFL now. Justin Herbert was a transcendent quarterback. But Tyler Shuff is the real deal. I think they still have some really good running backs. C.J. Verdell, Habibi Likio.
I'm just going to say that Oregon run defense last week was not looking great.
No, it wasn't. But Oregon's run defense usually hasn't been very good.
If Deion McIntosh for Washington State can get rolling.
Nah, I don't see it.
It could get I'm not saying Washington State has a chance to win. I think that 10 line is because Vegas saw what we saw last week.
That's right.
Oregon is not a great team.
No, but Oregon has the potential to score a lot of points.
They do.
So I think right now, if this over-under is 57.5, I'm taking the over. And I'm also taking the line on this one. I think Oregon can definitely win by 10 points. Plus, again, I have a soft spot for Oregon. I do root for the Ducks. So there's a little bit of bias in there, but apparently I have a lot of bias for Texas A&M too. So I'll go ahead and toot that. I'm a Texas A&M homer.
Ellis has a Texas A&M flag on his car that he flies around. I can vouch for that.
You're dang right. Another game that we want to look at, and this game is going to probably be the interesting one of the night. Wisconsin's finally going to be playing football again. Right now, they're going to be traveling to Ann Arbor to take on the Michigan Wolverines, a team that just looks terrible right now. We were so wrong about that
Dude,
video, too.
I think-
Joe Milton's going
I
to
think-
save Jim Harbaugh.
No.
I had the whole thumbnail up there like an idiot.
I think Michigan's gonna win.
I know that Michigan's going to win.
I think
And there's a
Michigan's
reason for
gonna
this.
win.
First and foremost, Wisconsin's probably still going to be without some players. And they haven't played football in a couple weeks, whereas Michigan, even though they've been getting pounded, have still played football. They're going to be more football shaped than Wisconsin. I think Graham Mertz is still going to be the starter. Hopefully everything's good. If he's not, then if it's Wolf, they're not winning. If it's I don't even know Vanderbook, whatever. If it's them, they're not winning. But I think Michigan right now, the over/under is 54.5 with Wisconsin favored at 4 points.
Maybe the under in Michigan seems like.
I'm taking the under. I think this is going to be a slow, trudging game.
I think Michigan's
I think
gonna win.
neither team scores more than 24 points. And I think that Michigan is going to pull out this win, not because they're a better team than Wisconsin, but because they've been playing football consecutive
Let's talk
weeks.
about the actual biggest game in the Big Ten.
Get out of here, man.
The Boilermakers traveled. Hey, actually, Northwestern comes across Indiana to West Lafayette to play Purdue. This is a ranked matchup.
You know what the weirdest thing is
Northwestern
right now?
is ranked.
The best team in Indiana right now is Indiana,
Yeah,
which is weird.
and
No, I'm wrong. False.
Yeah,
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is
No,
in South
let's
Bend, so
just
that's good.
wait. Let's just talk
Danny
about.
Vandenboom. Thank you, Christopher O'Connor. You are the Danny Vandenboom.
Let's talk
He's not
about.
winning the
Let's
game
talk
for
about
you.
how Indiana has 4 undefeated teams.
Yeah, that's
They've got-
actually
they,
scary.
They have Notre Dame. They have Indiana, Purdue, and Northwestern are all undefeated.
So do they own college football right now? Because
the state of Indiana owns college football right now.
them boys have been. That's weird.
Yeah.
Obviously, Northwestern's coming down.
They're only
to
3-point
Purdue.
favorite. Hey, I've been saying it all year. Don't sleep on the Boilermakers.
Nope.
Give me Purdue.
Look, I'm going to go ahead and take this moment to say something, too. So I have been obsessed. This is completely non-football related, but I have been obsessed with a case that I want everybody out there, if you're listening and you come across this, please let us know. Go out there and put a tip in. So in 2017, February 13th, 2 13-year-old girls, Abigail Williams and Liberty German, were killed on the Monon High Bridge by a man who is known as Bridge Guy. They have audio and video of the guy, but we still have not figured out who the killer was. Now, this is a town of 3,000 people plus, so it's rural. You would think that they would know who it is. To this day, they still have not figured out who it is. The reward for this is $250,000. Pat McAfee actually put in like $75,000 to it to be able to find this person that killed these 2 young girls. So if you are anything Indiana fan and you know anything about this, please put it out there. And I'm sorry for this PSA, but I am obsessed with this case. So I want to know about it. But when you get home, look it up. But over-unders 50.5. Northwestern favored by 3.
You're going to take Northwestern.
No.
You're taking Purdue.
Taking Purdue, man. They're playing at home.
We'll take
Aiden's
Purdue.
playing some good ball right now. Look, I trust Peyton Ramsey and quarterback from Northwestern. I like the coach, Pat Fitzgerald. But I think right now, if you look at anybody else, you want to know about a team, if they have an X factor, can they win? Name an X factor outside of Peyton Ramsey on Northwestern's team. I don't see it. Right now, with just Rondale Moore alone, not even talk about Bell, not even talk about Horvath.
Yeah.
I think this team's going to get a win.
I think they'll win.
I think they're going to get a win. I think the line being 3 points tells you something about what
indicative.
Vegas thinks about this game.
And listen, you have to think like maybe Purdue would have got Wisconsin last week.
Maybe. But, well, yeah, especially
And
if they were
also,
starting Danny
Purdue.
Vandenboom.
Let's not slight. Purdue got top 25 votes this week. They did, and they're ranked like the top 25. They don't just do top 25; they rank them down to like 35. Purdue was like the consensus 28.
Yeah. So
This is a good team.
again, I think either one of these teams have contention for the playoffs or anything like it? No, they can't even sniff it. But I like this matchup. I'm going to watch this game, and I think Purdue's going to pull it out. Let's go ahead and just hypothetically do the score predictions for the Alabama, LSU, and Texas A&M Tennessee game. Alabama, LSU
Would have been a blowout.
would have been Alabama 77, LSU 10. And I'm not just ragging on them, but from what happened last year, the way these teams are set up this year, and the way that LSU just seems to be checked out, Alabama would have put up 77 points on them. Without a doubt. It'd have been easy. And then they just move along to their number 1 ranking for the end of the year. And then Texas A&M going against Tennessee. I think Tennessee has also checked out a little bit. I don't know what happened to them. They started so strong. Everybody thought they were going to be a competitive team against Tennessee, but against Georgia, but it didn't work out. You lost to Stetson Bennett, who's not even Dwan Mathis is the quarterback again. It's scary. I don't know what's happening to Georgia, but I would say Texas A&M would have won this game by like 30 points. I just don't think that Tennessee's defense right now, I think they have checked out. To'o is a great linebacker, and I think you put him anywhere in the country, he's going to be great. But I think Tennessee has checked out mentally and physically, and I think Texas A&M, where they might not be the most talented team in the country, I think that a lot of things are breaking for them, and they have confidence. I think they would have probably beat the crap out of them. And then Auburn, Mississippi State. That's just hypothetical. How many yards does the Mississippi State quarterback have?
Against Auburn?
Mm-hmm.
Lots?
Yeah.
Well, Costello's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Lots?
Well, yeah.
Like 400?
I think that game would have been boring as crap. I wouldn't have watched it.
Really?
I know you said you would want to because you like
I watch
Leach,
all of
but
them.
I'm not watching that game. That game's terrible.